Okay, you noticing a theme here, guys? We have a lot of pentacle energy. So again, pentacle is health and wealth. It's the material realm. It's our thoughts that have become tangible. We've manifested it into being, for better or worse. Here it is. On December 19th, I'm Stacy, the Black Feather Intuitive, and this new moon reading is really important because it is the final new moon cycle of 2025. And it's been a wild ride, it's been a wild year, and let's just see how we are going to be wrapping out 2025 and bringing in 2026. And hopefully we're going to do it with a celebratory bang and not a destructive one. Fingers crossed. So, welcome all. For those who are old hat, you know what to do. Click on the Astrology Deets in the details to get started. For those of you who are new to me, please make sure you stay and watch to the very end of the video, because there is a 1-minute clip that tells you how you can make this reading really work for you and make the most of it. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Today we are going to be pulling cards from the Dark Fantasy Tarot from J. Edward Neal. And I chose this deck kind of personally. It wasn't a psychic choosing, because I am 4 days into, I live in the desert. My beautiful, sunny, palm tree riddled desert is full of rain. And it's dreary and sad. And so I was like, yeah, I'm in a dark mood, so I'm going to just pick dark cards. So y'all have to wallow with me. And let's talk a little bit about where this new moon is for us on December 19th. It's happening at 6:44 p.m. Eastern Standard, and it is happening in Sagittarius. It's only going to be in Sagittarius for another 48 hours or so, maybe 72. And then it switches over into Capricorn. But here are some of the things that you want to think about. When it is in this Sagittarius energy, we want to think about where we're dreaming of going. And this is, yes, we can talk about travel, but I feel like this gets more into the philosophical. Where am I dreaming of going in my life? I always like to talk about who am I becoming? Well, who am I becoming involves the things that I do, the experiences I have, who I interact with, where I go, where I exist, where I actually live and do the physical thing called life. So Sagittarius is really important in that. It's also going to be focusing on an expansion of our visions. And this is a really important time, a potent time for us, because we are, I want to say, we're not on the other side of destruction and chaos and mayhem and everything being torn down that we knew, but we are, I want to say, closer to the finish line than we were before, right? A lot closer to that than we are. Like it takes fewer steps to continue forward to get where we want to go than it does to go back. So that's really important to understand. And what we really need to be focusing on is the vision of what we're going to create on the other side of this. And so the expansion of our visions and Sagittarius coming into this new moon energy is really helping us to get clear on what that is. You may notice a lot of inspiration. You might even notice a lot of ideas from the past that you thought were not possible, and now suddenly they're kind of being sort of resurrected again, and you're kind of going, okay, maybe this can happen now, or maybe there is an availability to be able to explore this in some deeper ways. So I do feel that there's going to be a surface level review of the past in order to say, what can I harvest from there to bring into my now to make it work? Because now is the time where it will work. It can happen. It can be birthed. And what I also was kind of downloading was smoothing out the rough spots. Now, I don't know if I'm not an astrologer, so I don't know if this is technically, if this actually falls in line with Sagittarius, but I downloaded that these are some of the issues that we're dealing with during this new moon energy. And when we are smoothing out the rough spots, what we're talking about is refinement. And I feel like after all that we've kind of been through for 2025, and of course, in this case, we've got like another 10 or 11 days to go, maybe 12 days to go at the time of this reading, we really can look at where we've been and determine where we can refine and maybe iron out some of the wrinkles, right? And to smooth out the rough spots so that we have, I want to say, a little bit of a smoother path moving forward in terms of what it is that we want to create in this new energy. And 2026 is a 1 year compared to 2025's 9 year. 9 is resolution, conclusion, like it makes sense. We're wrapping things up. That's why everything is so chaotic. It has to be torn down because now, there's only room for the new. And I feel like that's, really important, something to consider. So diving into that, let's pull our release card. What am I releasing from the previous cycle? And, this is always an important card. I've had a couple of people sort of comment on, like, why do you bother adding all of these extra, sort of prompts to the scientific cycle? And I say, like, to each his own. But I like to really understand the totality of why we follow the moon in the first place, right? And what is the purpose of it? Well, there's stuff that we have to release from the previous cycle. There's stuff that we're going to release from this cycle that we're going to be in. And I feel like it's important to have that information. So Queen of Pentacles, releasing, I feel like when we're releasing the previous cycle, it's this idea that that all we have to do is just kind of walk through the forest and we can, take whatever it is that we need. The Queen of Pentacles is a very generous archetype, the archetype that says, come on in to my forest. You need something? Here. I'm happy to give you a basket of whatever it is that you need. And I'm going to take it a step further, and I'd love to show you how you can do this for yourself. The opposite of this, or the, sort of the reverse of this, and I don't read reversals, but just because I get information around it, is when that Queen of Pentacles feels that lack and that scarcity, the Queen of Pentacles is like shut down for business. The Queen of Pentacles keeps that information to herself. She may share, but maybe there's a bit of resentment. Maybe there's a bit of a string or two attached to that, and not a whole lot of energy to actually, share with somebody else how they might be able to do this for themselves. The saying that I always connect to this card is you give a person a fish, they eat for a day. You teach a person to fish, they eat for a lifetime. It's the same concept here. So I feel like what we're releasing is maybe even some of the exhaustion around the work that that the Queen of Pentacles has taken to build, what it is that she has, or to grow and nurture what it is that she has. You're releasing that exhaustion so that now we can really come into how do we teach ourselves and each other how to continue to build the resource that we actually need. So that I feel like is important. Everything has an ebb and a flow. And if we're constantly in flow, there's no time to recharge, to learn, to perfect our craft, to refine our technique. And I feel like that's what we're releasing is the exhaustion around that, so that we can be open to what is coming up for us next. Now we have our soul card. The soul card is what is the collective learning and growth for this particular moon cycle. Two of Cups coming together. We don't have to do this alone. We're not in this alone. I also feel like collectively this new moon cycle, we are learning how to seek out people of like mind, like heart, and like soul. And this feels really good. You know, after a year of, well, we've had many years of division, divisiveness, us versus them, the good guys versus the bad guys, good versus evil. You know, we've had so much of that shoved down our throats collectively. And yes, I live in the US, but I feel like we've had this just across the globe, right? In the world, we've seen it. Even if you're not in the US, you've been watching this. The US isn't the only country right now that is struggling, clearly. Obviously, there are many countries that have a lot of that divisiveness that keeps people apart. It pits people against one another. And so I feel like this is coming up, especially for this final lunar cycle of 2025 and bringing us into 2026. It's helping us to turn and face one another, and not in an adversarial way, in a way that says, oh, I see you, and there's more understanding. It's a coming together, it's a bridging the gap rather than, you know, keeping us far apart. Are there emotional considerations here? Abso-freaking-lutely. But the 2 indicates that the emotions are more aligned than they aren't. The 2 of Cups indicates that maybe the emotion isn't so overwhelming. It's not the cup is full and overflowing with all sorts of emotions to the point where you can't even think straight. It's more of a, let's share how we're feeling about things. Let's confer with one another, you know, and just sort of see where the commonality lies. And I'm going to say in certain instances, you know, it might be hard to find commonality, but the commonality might be like the physical components. You're a human being and I'm a human being. You breathe air and I breathe air, right? You need food and I need food. You feel and I feel. Even if we feel differently or opposite to one another, we have the commonality of being beings that feel. Okay? So I feel like this window of time, this new moon cycle, is encouraging the coming together, seeking the commonality. Almost like, I don't mean like forcing commonality, but almost like we can't leave this conversation until we find and agree upon something that, you know, we have in common, even if that means you're a human and I'm a human. Like, you have skin on your bones and I have skin on my bones. There, done. Stick a fork in it, right? Moving on. I feel like that's important to our evolution and to what we're going to be creating moving forward. Our new moon card, I manifest. What energies are here to support my manifesting? How can I lean into their wisdom? So this is happening December, the new moon is on December 19th. It's happening at 6:44 p.m. Eastern Standard, which I believe at this time of year is 11:44 p.m. UTC. Please forgive me if I'm an hour off. I suck at time, period, end of story. And then I moved into a time zone where Arizona, and I'm not mad at it, but Arizona makes it a little extra complicated because, you know, that's just me. And it doesn't do daylight savings the way the rest of the world does. So then everything just gets really extra complicated. So I think that's the UTC time. And here we have our King of Pentacles. Interesting. So we were releasing Queen of Pentacles, and now our new moon is bringing us into King of Pentacles. So I feel that there's an elevation. Not to say that the queen is less than the king, because hell no. But as an archetype, we can think in terms of that queenly energy, and we were talking about the reversal energy of it, feeling like you've got to hang on to your stuff, feeling the exhaustion. And now the King of Pentacles is coming through to say, where's your leadership, right? I have these resources. I know how to create these resources. I feel a bit relaxed. I feel a bit calm about what is transpiring because I've weathered a number of different storms. I've, you know, been through the difficult winters and the scarce years where there wasn't much, and I'm still here. So I've got all the tricks of the trade. I know how to move beyond this. And so I feel like when we're talking about that, I manifest, what energies are here to support my manifesting? How can I lean into their wisdom? The energy that is really coming through here is to own the leadership. Everyone, whether you feel like you're a leader, an alpha, a leader, an A type, or whether you're not and you're the opposite. We all have that leadership ability in some way. And I feel that that's going to come to the forefront for each of us on an individual level, as well as collectively taking a look at, who our leaders are. Are our leaders really being resourceful? Are our leaders providing resource? Are they genuinely in it to win it, to help the masses? Or are they in it for themselves? And on that individual level, how do you want to lead? Look in your pantry, look in your house for the things that you have that, maybe there are some resources there that you no longer need, or you don't need as much of. I know I went through kind of a phase where, when I was running my cooking business, I had like 3 of everything, because you're in the middle of it all. And if, the can opener breaks, or whatever, something happens and you're in the middle of it, you don't have time because you got stuff cooking in the oven and boiling on the stove, and there's a timing factor here. You don't have time to run to the store to go and buy, whatever it is that you need. Well, once I closed up my cooking business, I still cook, but I cook for one. So I'm not cooking for masses. So I don't need 3 of everything, right? So I feel like that's kind of what this is inviting us and calling us into. And, we were talking about that Sagittarius energy, where are you going in your life, the expansion of your vision, smoothing out the rough spots. I feel like the King of Pentacles is helping with that, because King of Pentacles is also already kind of established his vision. He's created it. He's living it. He's in his kingdom of plenty. And so we can learn from, and I want to say borrow from, the characteristics of the King of Pentacles in terms of the expansion of that vision. What is it that you have? How did you go about getting that? Because now I'd like to use that innovative, approach, or I'd like to use that stable approach to be able to establish my own abundance, my own kingdom, that kind of thing. So I feel like King of Pentacles is really coming through with a lot of guidance and wisdom around how we can expand our visions. And it's not just the imagination piece, it's the actual doing the thing. Pentacles is the physical, the material realm, thoughts that have become tangible, thoughts that have become things. So King of Pentacles is really helping us with that. Okay, now we are at our Waxing Crescent card. I plan. What do I need to consider when creating my plan for this cycle? Any challenges or opportunities to be aware of? This is happening December 23rd through to the 26th. Let's see what we've got here. Interesting. 4 of Swords. So, it's kind of like what I was talking about with the 2 of Cups with our Soul card. 4 of Swords, it can mean rest and relaxation, but it can also mean truce. And I really feel like collectively there is going to be a solid opportunity in front of all of us to say, yes, I choose to continue the battle. I choose to be right over being happy. Or let's put our differences to the side. Let's focus on the commonalities. What is it that we both really want out of this situation? And let's find a way to come together to make it happen. This is really interesting because when we talk about the plan, I feel like that's exactly what is required. We have so much, what my grandfather used to say all the time was air talk. Air talk. What is air talk? It's the air. There's no substance to it. It's a waste of breath. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of space. I like to say it's a nothing burger unless you put something behind it. And I feel like that's what's coming up during this window of time, is the opportunity to create a plan and to perhaps enact it. And to do it where it's not about adversaries. It's not about us versus them. It's about what do we need and how can each of us and each of our unique skill sets come together to provide for both, to provide for all. I'm hearing there's going to be a lot of energy connected to creative resolution. And not everybody, I want to say, has the same emotional capacity. So it's important to understand that as well as you're going through this. Make sure that you are getting plenty of rest during this 4-day window of time, December 23rd to the 26th, because, and how interesting, this is for those of you who celebrate the holiday and you celebrate Christmas. This is really going to be a challenge, right? Most of the time people feel exhausted during this time. So I'm going to say I feel like there's celebration, but maybe this year more people are going to choose to have low-key celebrations. And I really feel like maybe a lot of the celebration happens prior to the actual holiday and maybe after the actual holiday, kind of the in between the holidays, but the holidays themselves are probably going to be pretty chill for most people. And I feel like it's really important to put your focus on listening to the body's needs, making sure that you're not overdoing it, because you are going to be needing clear mind, clear heart space to be able to come together. It's interesting. Family energy is always a challenge at the holidays because we always have that family member that rubs us the wrong way, and I don't know about you guys, but like for holiday stuff, if you run into that situation, I think about the times when we would have to go and do Christmas stuff with my father's side of the family. I would have to like prep for weeks mentally and emotionally because it was always very uncomfortable for me for a number of reasons. And even on my mom's side, we always had an Uncle Ed. There was Uncle Ed who, was like a chain smoker of Kent unfiltered cigarettes, the cheapest kind you could imagine. He was a bigoted, racist, discriminatory, kind of, white entitled man who, quite frankly, was just mean and cruel. And yet we all had to just kind of, put up with his nonsense and shenaniganery for the, 4 or 5 days or the 2 weeks that they stayed, right? So I feel like we all have that, especially around this time of year where you are going to be dealing with people that you'd rather not. But I'm going to say when you have the rest and you have the intention of saying, how can we come together? Again, that 2 of Cups. Where's the commonality? And even if, I'm not saying you got to spend a ton of time, with the people in your life that are like this, right? It's more about understanding, okay, the importance is the coming together piece at this point. The importance here is to get rid of the adversarial components. It's important to not see everything as us and them. And you might have to be the bigger person in that, but I feel like that's the energy that we're all being challenged to cultivate. Okay, so now we are at our first quarter moon. I act. What energy fuels my motivation? How can I collaborate with source energy to empower my actions? This is December 27th through to the 30th. So this is the window of time where I feel there's going to be a lot of activity, right? A lot more celebration, a lot more moving around during that time. And how interesting, we have another 4 of Pentacles. So, 2 4s in a row. 4 is establishing a foundation, solid foundation. It's manifestation. It is very much about how to support yourself. A lot of financial money type stuff is connected to the 4 energy as well. So here we had the 4 of Swords, the realm of the mind, mental energy. Now we've got the 4 of Pentacles, thoughts becoming things, that manifesting. And when we are talking about this I act, what I feel is really important here is to act without fear or to act in spite of any fear or trepidation that you have around how putting yourself out there or speaking your truth or making yourself more visible, more known, is going to cause you harm. Go in with more confidence. This often, it's a card of protection, but it's also can be a card of scarcity and lack. And I feel like you're going to have a lot of individuals coming from that fearful scarcity and lack place. And it's going to be important that you not lead with that or add fuel to the fire. So when we're saying that I act, what energy fuels my motivation, be the protector, not the one that needs the protection. And by the way, if you feel like you're a person who needs protection, I'm not saying, shame on you and that's bad. I feel more like find areas where you feel that you can be the protector in certain areas of your life. And if you do need help, if you feel that you need protection, connect with someone who can be that protector, can provide that solid foundation, that safe space and that safe place to talk through what you need to talk through, or just to sit in silence and be able to have that space. I just saw a bunch of like yoga and Pilates. For whatever reason, I feel like there's going to be some energy there around people just needing to chill out a bit, going to find that their centeredness, to find that stillness within. So I feel like that 4 energy is encouraging a bit of stillness. But you want to be really cautious during this time. Like I said, you're going to have quite a few people who are struggling, and they're struggling and they're coming from that place of lack. They're coming from, maybe they're even like throwing some jealousy bombs your way. To the best of your ability, be as compassionate as you can be. If you can give, give. If you can't give, be kind about it. And understand that not everybody, again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, not everybody is at the same emotional level or has the same emotional capacity that maybe you're at, or maybe you're the one who has limited emotional capacity at this time. So I want to say, like, read the room, know where you're at, know where other people are at, put your feelers out, sense, feel into what people are saying and also what they're not saying, to try and get the full picture. I don't want to give you the impression that it's going to be like a really bad time. I don't feel that it's bad. In fact, I feel like there's going to be a lot of socializing, but that's in essence what is transpiring, right? You're going to be out and about, you're going to be facing people, you're going to be in people's energy and in people's things and stuff. And that's where sometimes I want to say those experiences come up and come out. So just really lead with compassion around that. Okay, so we are at our waxing gibbous card. I choose. What energy can I lean into for confidence as I discern my commitments? And the waxing gibbous is December 31st to January 2nd. Happy New Year. Let's see what the card is for us for this new year. Interesting. 7 of Pentacles. Reaping rewards. So I do feel that we are going to very much be acknowledging the passing of the torch from 2025 into 2026. And I do feel that this is going to be a year, more so than other years, where I feel people are going to be extremely celebratory. We are going to be shouting it from the rooftops. I feel like there are going to be record numbers of people going out to celebrate the holiday. So be safe, be careful, don't drink and drive, prep what you need to prep in order to keep you and everyone around you safe and protected. 7 is a really interesting number because it is the number of divinity. And I also like to say it's the number that encourages you to measure twice and cut once, to dot your I's and cross your T's. I like to say this is the number of the prototype. Before you put it into mass production, do one last really thorough overhaul. You don't need to overthink it, but one last overhaul of this prototype to make sure that all the bells and whistles are working and that it's actually going to serve the purpose that you've created it for. Have you, speaking from a vision perspective, have you thought out past its use for 6 months or a year? You know, have you thought about how this might still be in existence 10 years from now and how that might serve humanity? I feel like, especially coming back to that expansion of your vision and where you're going in life, smoothing out the rough spots, this is going to be a window of time to do that. Yes, it's celebratory, go and have fun, but I also feel like it's an invitation for you to really get clear on, you know, double checking your details. Also, like on a superficial level, I feel like a lot of you are going to run into the, oh shit, I forgot the what's it. You know, there's going to be a lot of like, maybe you show up to the party a little late because you had to turn around because you forgot the main dish that you were bringing, or you had to run out to the store because you had all the things for your outfit, but you forgot, you know, the shoes or something like that. So I do feel that there's a bit of scattered energy in terms of like you're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's, but one thing gets overlooked, one thing gets missed. So just kind of prepare yourself for that and don't beat yourself up for it. You know, be in flow around that. I also want to say, as I'm looking at this particular image, I am almost getting a sense of like a little bit of justice here as well. This angel feels a little bit justicey to me. And I feel like it's going to be important for you to be very clear about what your truth is, but to be maybe observant about it rather than verbal about it. I feel like there's going to be a time and a place. So like, know your audience, read the room. You can have a truth. You don't necessarily have to say it when it's going to fall on deaf ears, or when it's, I want to say, not necessarily an appropriate time or the best time to do it. So read the room during this time. I feel that's really, really important, especially when we are talking about I choose. You have choice. Like, yeah, you might feel a thing. You might recognize that a person that's saying something is totally batshit crazy, or they're completely off their rocker compared to how you feel. But it's important to understand that's their truth. And maybe it's not your place. You know, unless you're feeling really called to speak your truth and speak it out, I would say be more in observance mode of how interesting, what is this person's belief reflecting back to me about myself? What can I learn about this experience? Remember the collective soul message, that 2 of Cups. We are not adversarial here. We are working on coming together, finding commonality. All right, we are already at our full moon. And so let's have a conversation about the full moon. The full moon is happening at 3:04 a.m. Eastern Standard, which is going to be about 9:04 a.m. UTC time. The full moon is in Cancer. And here's what I downloaded about what this full moon energy is going to be about for us. Creating safe havens. So we kind of talked about that actually already. Like, you can be a safe space for another person. I think that was the 4 of Pentacles that we talked about that. You can be a safe space. You can be the person that creates a safe environment for people to come to be able to celebrate and have a good time and to feel kind of relaxed in all of that. You can create a safe haven for yourself, recognizing where, you know, maybe you've been beaten and battered and bruised all through 2025, and moving into the new year, you're saying, nope, like, I'm moving out of this house, or I'm moving out of this neighborhood, or I'm moving out of this situation. I'm choosing to not engage with the toxic people in my life. So you're creating a safe haven for yourself. So I feel like that's going to be kind of on the menu for this window of time. Being conscious of how your feelings are affecting your now. So I feel like this is going to cause some scattered energy, but when you realize that you're scattered, now you have the opportunity to bring yourself into focus, into the present moment, into the now. These feelings that I'm feeling, is it serving me to spin, what do they call that? Circle the drain. Is it serving me to get all caught up in all of the things and the stuff that I can't really do anything about when I'm in this heightened, triggered emotional state? Or is it better for me to use those emotional signposts as a way to recognize, okay, maybe it's time to take a little detour, or maybe it's time to go to the rest stop and refuel, take a moment to pause and breathe, get a little bit of clarity. It's not always about the go and pushing ourselves to get somewhere. Sometimes it's important to just kind of pause and reflect on what's going on. So, and also you're responsible for the energy that you bring into a room at any given time. And I feel like that's going to be kind of central to our experience during this particular window of time. And then the third thing that I downloaded here is caution around difficult conversations. That's interesting because I kind of was already tapping into that in the previous card with that Seven of Pentacles. Understanding where people's capacities are at. Understanding where your capacity is at. And being flexible, right? Cancer is a water sign, water energy. So you can be flexible, you can be malleable, you can be in flow with other people. You don't have to lose yourself in it. It's just a recognition of, okay, maybe now is not the right time to have this conversation. I'm going to table it and come back to it in a week. Or I'm going to come back to it in 4 days after this window of time. So this particular window of time is happening January 3rd through to the 6th. And this is actually a really important time for us because we are often in reflection mode. We're often in just getting back into work after the holidays. There's always a little bit of a letdown with that, but also maybe a desire to get back into some kind of routine or structure as well. So just be aware that a lot of people are going to feel all sorts of things about that. And just be aware of where you're at with that. And try to really be in flow. Okay, so the full moon is I receive. How can I best open to the energies of this full moon to receive clarity, guidance, or direction? What gift does this full moon offer to me? Ace of Pentacles. Okay, you're noticing a theme here, guys. We have a lot of Pentacle energy. So again, Pentacle is health and wealth. It's the material realm. It's our thoughts that have become tangible. We've manifested it into being, for better or worse. Here it is. And the Ace of Pentacles is that pure potential around planting seeds. So you're going to receive new opportunities that you're then going to have the option to apply some, I want to say inspiration. Think of it in this way. You receive inspiration or somebody shares an opportunity with you that gets you thinking. And then you sit with it for a while and you feel into what that might be like. You try the coat on for size to see what it's all about. And when you hit the ding, 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 feeling like, ooh, yes, oh, this is exciting. Oh, I would love to do that. Or, oh, there's something here. This is big. Understand that the second that emotion clicks with that thought, with that inspiration, now the wheels of manifestation are in motion. So I feel like you're going to be receiving a lot to consider. And it's going to be really important for you to play around in that information, in that imagination space to see what that wants to become. Allow the opportunity to show its potential to you. Allow it to unfold. Because when you start to get excited about it, it starts to become a thing. And that's going to be really great. Don't get afraid. If you start to feel, if you're exploring something and all of a sudden you get some fear around it, don't worry about the fear. Just shift your thoughts right back into the excitement of it. This could become something amazing. And if you start to feel like, oh my God, I can't do all of this on my own, then just remind yourself, I can always ask for help. I don't, just because I'm receiving this doesn't mean I have to do it all by myself. and calm the anxiety around that. Maybe you're like, oh my God, this is so big that, other people are going to want to get to know this. And so like, I have to keep it secret. Okay, don't make a big deal of that. Just remind yourself, okay, there are ways that I can do that. So it's like, I feel like you're going to be using your own voice to empower yourself, to give yourself the answer to the anxiety solution or the fear solution. Because if we're manifesting from that place of fear or anxiety, we don't get the exact thing that we're actually trying to create. So I feel like that's just kind of an important message. But yeah, you're going to be receiving a lot. So make sure that you've built time in to those days, to be able to play in the imagination space, to have time to draw or think or contemplate or, consider it on your walk, or, talk to a couple people, have a little brainstorming session around it. Build time in for that, because I feel like that's going to be something really important. Okay, now we are at our disseminating moon. I acknowledge, how best can I honor my gifts and my light during this time? Where can I express gratitude from the heart? This is happening January 7th through the 9th. Death. So I acknowledge the major shifts and changes and everything that was. And I acknowledge how that has affected me on an individual level. And now, because of all of this, who can I become? Coming back to that Sagittarius energy. Now we are in Capricorn season. And I should have said happy birthday Capricorns a while back. We are in Capricorn season, but I want to say some of that Sagittarius energy still lingers. The expansion of the vision and refining, smoothing out the rough spots kind of thing. Capricornian energy is about how can we build that out? How can I take this idea and manifest it into the physical? Capricorn energy is the King of Pentacles. So we are in that energy. We started that sort of new moon with the acknowledgement of, it's a Sagittarius new moon, and Capricorn is going to pick up the torch for that and carry the torch throughout the rest of the season. So the Death card is coming through to say, acknowledge how this has changed you. Because when you acknowledge how it's changed you, you can also see what the advantages are and how you can build upon that and how you can expand upon that. I feel like this window of time is really giving all of us space to grow, to build, to gather what is required, but then to also put it into practice, to kind of, like I see the hammer and the nails and the wood, like you've gathered the resources and now you're building the structure and the frame of what it is that you're going to create. It's a very important time. I want to say it's going to be a very potent time. Interesting. And when we're acknowledging it, acknowledge is to speak it, to witness it, to see it. I see you, I feel you, I'm working within your energy. And I acknowledge you so much that I'm actually, taking the steps to move on your suggestion, to move on the inspiration, to plant those seeds. Now we're at our third quarter card. I claim, what is being completed in my life at this time? How can I connect to its release with conviction? So this is happening on January 10th through the 13th. The word that really stands out to me here, just for whatever reason today, is a conviction. So I feel like there's claiming something with conviction. You can claim something and be like, okay, yeah, I do that. And then there's hell yes, that's what I do. And I believe in that. And I'm going to continue to do that. There's a big difference in those two expressions of claiming something, claiming aspects of yourself. And so I feel like whatever this energy is, we need conviction around it. Another 7. 7 of Wands. So 7 of Wands often is read as a card of defense, having to defend oneself, having to defend your boundaries, defend your territories. I actually read this a little bit differently, and I'm getting to read it differently today. I often see the 7 of Swords as you having, like, your light is so bright and it's something that other people want to have a piece of. For whatever reason, I always think of Brene Brown as the example and as the analogy. You know, she has so much wisdom and knowledge, so much information, and she gets on a big stage. She gets on a podium, or just on a big stage, and hundreds of thousands of people pay a lot of money to go and listen to her wisdom. They all want to take a piece of her light, and she willingly shares in that, giving that, you know, piece of wisdom and piece of light. But there are times when, if your love cup is not full and overflowing, if you don't have that level of energy within you, you don't have that light to give. And so I feel like when we're talking about the I claim and I claim with conviction, I feel like we talked a lot about knowing, you know, picking the right timing to express your truth. This would be the right time to express your truth. So all those things that you put to the side, or you observed and said, okay, I'm going to table it and I'm going to choose it for later. This is the time to express it. This is the time to address it. Because again, as we talk about that 7 energy, it's the prototype energy. Now is the time to address any problems, any issues, but be solutions focused. You know, understand that you don't want to use your wand to burn people. You want to use your wand to shine a light on areas where there can be mutual improvement, where there can be a coming together to make something better for everyone involved. And I feel like that's where the conviction is. Claim your beliefs, claim your ideas, claim where you are at in your life and in your world, and claim the visions of what you wish to see moving forward out in the world, but also in between you and, you know, the people that you love, your inner circle, your community at large. This is the time to do that. And so I feel that there's going to be a lot of declaration, a lot of announcements made, probably even some launches of, you know, interesting, innovative products or medical, you know, related stuff that's going to be coming out at this time. And it's going to be, I want to say, kind of an exciting time to be alive in terms of that. Now, there's always the other, you know, the flip of the coin, where there are going to be announcements made that don't feel great. But I want to say, in this instance, remember your power. Like in this instance, you are Brene Brown. You have the wisdom and knowledge. Nobody else can be like you. Nobody else can even try to imitate you, because they haven't amassed that wealth of knowledge yet. You know, they may have learned a lot from you. And nothing wrong with that. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but don't try to steal someone else's light, right? And also during this time, be aware of how much you have to offer. You know, if you're in a situation where, you know, your love cup is not full and overflowing, make sure that you are putting some boundaries around your time and your energy, and the ways in which you are investing, how long you are investing in that. So make sure that you're protecting yourself in that regard. Okay, now we're at our balsamic moon. I surrender. What energy can I lean into to fly free into this new version of me? What can I consider as I embrace this opportunity to know myself anew? Balsamic moon is happening January 14th to the 17th. 3 of Cups. Surrender to the fact that people disappoint us. We disappoint each other. We don't always show up in the ways that we need to. You know, we don't always show up in the best version of ourselves. 3 of Cups is a card of celebration. It's an implication of, you know, people coming together to have fun, to let loose. On the flip side of that, there's a lot of gossip. There's a lot of potential judgment. People coming together to bitch, complain. I want to say, be solutions focused. Be the empowerer. Be the cheerleader. I feel like this is a window of time where you have the option to tear someone down or to bring someone up. And who do you really want to be? Now, some of you might feel that I need to put this person in their place because I'm tired of enabling. If that's how you feel, just remember, like, think about it in terms of how would you want to receive this information? I want to say everything needs to be with care and compassion and understanding. Threes always are about creation energy coming into the mix. This Three of Cups energy, depending on how you're interacting, you're creating a positive environment or you're creating a negative environment. You're creating a safe space or you're creating a toxic space. And I feel like it's as simple as that. Life is gray. We have all sorts of gray areas, but I feel like this card in this particular window of time, there's a little bit of the black and white. Either you're this or you're this. Either you're contributing to the problem or you're contributing to the solution. And I feel like that's really what's coming up here. I know that's not really what the Three of Cups typically is about, but that's what I'm feeling you need to surrender to. Yeah, it's not going to work out the way I want. Yeah, it's not all sunshine and daisies, wine and roses. I'd rather be, sipping my Mai Tai on the beach of the trip that I planned. But, shit happened and I'm in a different place. You can bitch about it. You can complain about it. You can be negative about it. Or you can be an empowerer, a supporter, a glasses full and overflowing. And so this is happening for a reason. Or, there's a reason why I'm having this conversation with these individuals and that it's going south. It's going in a way that I'm not, it's not ideal for me. How can I be part of the solution instead of part of the problem? I feel like that's the message there. Interesting. Okay, now we are at our Dark Moon card. This isn't part of the scientific cycle of the new moon, but this is the energetic part of the cycle. And so that Dark Moon card is I release. What can I release control of or walk away from, knowing it has served its purpose? How can I remain open to the new and unknown in this process? This is happening on January 17th. I'm so sorry, I don't know if with the Balsamic Moon card, if I said what time, the time frame it was. It's January 14th to the 17th. And the dark moon, the void moon, always falls in between that Balsamic Moon energy. So on the 16th, what are we releasing from this cycle? What can we release control of or walk away from, knowing it has served its purpose? And how can you remain open to the new? Because we are wrapping up this cycle of everything that we've just explored. I love it. Ace of Cups. So what did I say? You want your love cup to be full and overflowing. You want to be that cheerleader for somebody else, but you also want to make sure that you are practicing a lot of self-care. You're getting the rest that you need. Ace of Cups is an initiation. And I feel like when we're talking about that, I release control of the things that you have no control over. It's as simple as that. What can I control in my world? My reaction or my response to whatever life hands me? That's it. We can't even necessarily control our thoughts. Our thoughts are what our thoughts are, but we have the opportunity to respond or react to those thoughts. We have the control of choice to be able to say, I'm going to listen to this thought and act on this thought, and I'm going to ignore this thought, right? You can't control another person. You can't control what goes on around you. All you can do is connect to what is transpiring and decide how you want to engage or interact with it or not. Ace of Cups is an initiation into the next cycle, and it is an initiation into this next version of you in terms of what you're choosing to show up with and to put out in the world. I come back to that Two of Cups energy. It is not about being adversarial. It's about finding the commonality. And now we have new ground. We're initiating something new and different. We're letting go of the way things were, and maybe even letting go of certain beliefs that we had. Letting go of this idea that we have to be ruled by our emotions. And instead, we are using our emotions to inform our choices. And that is where our control lies. All right, guys. Wow. What a powerful last new moon cycle for 2025. What a great way to initiate ourselves into 2026. I hope you enjoyed this new moon reading for the new moon on December 19th. As always, you guys know where to find me. If you need any kind of support or help or guidance, please book a session with me. It's also year-end preview and year-end transformation season. You can also click on the link below in the description to book there as well. You know, if you want a sneak preview of what is to come, you want to understand what your soul's purpose is here for 2026, these are the sessions for you. They are phenomenal. I've been doing them for years. People absolutely love them. I sell out pretty quickly. So there's just a couple of spots left. Would love to be able to connect with you in that way. Otherwise, guys, have the most amazing month. Happy New Year. And I look forward to continuing this journey with you into 2026. Take care and transform well. For those of you who are new to me, here's a quick little breakdown on how to make this reading work for you. The new moon cycle works where it moves in 3.5 basically days throughout that 28-day cycle. So sometimes you're in a phase a little bit longer or a little bit shorter. It is not linear. But what I do is I give you dates connected to each of the phases of the new moon cycle so that you can come back to the video after you've watched the whole thing, you've taken it all in, you come back to that video for those particular times so that you understand, okay, I'm in, the waxing crescent phase, and what do I need to know about that? What is transpiring in my world right now? And this information is really helpful because it's giving me perspective on what it is I need to learn, or maybe I need to pull back, or maybe I need to lean in a little bit more. So use this. It's kind of like the gift that keeps on giving. Use it throughout the month to support you.